In January, we did my annual 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance program where we looked at one thing you could do each day. Well, we're back with the Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. In the chaotic world of 2025 and beyond, compliance will become even more important, and you staying on top of your game will help your company move forward. Today on the Compliance Tip of the Day, we take up one of my favorite topics, which is podcasting for compliance training, communication, and education. If there's one thing from the practice of law that translates to the practice of compliance, it is that you are only limited by your imagination. This holds true in the realm of compliance education as well, as communications and training can come in many forms. Many compliance practitioners well remember the 2012 Morgan Stanley declination, where Morgan Stanley was recognized for emailing 35 compliance reminders to the culpable individual over 7 years. Think about the power of compliance education in the context of these compliance reminders. Well, why not use podcasting and tell the story of your compliance program through a podcast? I call it podcast storytelling. It can be a powerful tool. You can do a short 5-part series, which constitutes one story arc. Each podcast is 10 to 15 minutes in length, and the podcast can be a series of interviews led by a noted podcast host or someone from your compliance department. It can be an interview or it can be a solo podcast. While there is one integrated storyline, each podcast and accompanying text are a standalone compliance training and communication that can be used as an educational tool by anyone at your organizations. The podcast can be pushed out internally as well as through your organization's social media channels. From each podcast, you can create multiple short audio and video clips in the form of social media sharing materials with key quotes and lessons learned with some engaging podcast cover art. Want another suggestion? How about something short and snappy, like Compliance News of the Day? Here you can have daily curated shows of 3 to 4 compliance stories in a short summary over 5 minutes. In fact, I do the same thing with my daily compliance news. Make it fun so when your employees come into work, they want to check in. It would certainly give them opportunity to think about compliance in a new and different way. As a compliance professional, you should strive to bring more storytelling into your compliance education. You can use podcasts to improve corporate culture. How? Well, a major U.S. consumer product company started a podcast and had its corporate executives on the podcast. Who were the biggest fans of the podcast? It turned out it was the company employees, many of whom had never met their corporate executives. This allowed the executives to be humanized in a way no number of town hall meetings or other similar corporate events could be accomplished. The point of all of this is you're only limited by your imagination in compliance. If you can think of it, you can do it. A podcast format is a magical format in both an audio and now many podcasters have a video format with their YouTube channel. You should be happy to talk about the successes of your compliance program in a way that employees will be engaged and want to hear about. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, use podcast storytelling to tell longer, more involved stories about compliance. 2, use compliance department branded podcasts to have ongoing communications. And 3, a daily compliance news show will drive engagement and provide strong response to DOJ inquiries about how you communicate compliance issues to your employees, executives, and board members. Let me begin where I started. In compliance, you are only limited by your imagination. One of of the things that I'm happy to do for you, the compliance profession, is if you have a question or a series of questions you would like some compliance tips on, I'm happy to take any requests that you might want, certainly anonymize them, and give you a quick tip. Either one quick tip or maybe a week's worth of quick tips. So if you have any tips you want about your compliance program, you can shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This podcast was created and produced with the assistance of AI.